Yeah, what's goody, fam? Wanted to rap with y'all about a mindset that changed my life forever. Changed my business, but definitely changed my life forever. If you watching this, you might be somebody like who I used to be, somebody who found themselves self-aware, understanding, having a knowledge of self, understanding who you are, what you're capable of, but not really being able to achieve the things that you want to, the way you want to, and the timing that you want to, or seeing, different occurrences, different situations as obstacles instead of opportunities, dealing with the frustration of why is this happening or what's going on. And this one mindset, this one reframe, this one mental shift changed everything. So I'll get to that in a second. But I want to chat with y'all a bit about just mindset in general. Everything starts with mindset. Mindset is the seed that everything is birthed from, right? Thoughts want to become words, words want to become actions, and single actions become habits. And what we program our minds to execute literally becomes the script that, leads to, you know, our lives, the movie that is our lives. And as the main character, you want to be able to author that in a way that is in your favor, things that's productive, things that actually serve you. And for a long time, I would be frustrated with the fact that things weren't happening in my timing or the way I wanted to. I'm one of those individuals, I don't know if you like this, but I'm one of those people who I have this like obsessive, monomaniacal drive to like have things be the way that I envision them in my mind. And I mean, the reality is life don't always work like that. But if it's up to me, I'm going to do what I can to make sure that it's exactly what it is in my mind. I don't really like the word no. It doesn't really process or compute. But anyhow, I come across, you know, brilliant, beautiful minds, people with tremendous potential and ability, people with, one of a kind talent and skill. And they don't always get to experience the achievement, the results that are aligned with their level of brilliance and talent. And, some of it is self inflicted, and some of it is just a byproduct of them having a mindset that doesn't align with the things that they want and the person that they, want to become. And, I can recall it's probably about 10 years now, being very frustrated with where things were. And I'm not going to say things were, the worst, because I would consider where I was, I call it first world problems, right? So, it's a challenge, but it's one of those challenges where people would cut their right arm off to be where you are, right? It's a challenge nonetheless, but one that people would be like, well, what's the big deal? Like, what you complaining about? And I remember, you know, being in a space where I knew I wanted things to change and I knew that I wanted things to be different, but in my own will and in my own ability, it wasn't happening. And it wasn't for a lack of, ability, a lack of talent, a lack of skill, a lack of, brilliance or potential. I didn't have the mindset that opened the door to the things that I wanted. I didn't have the mindset that gave me access to be able to do these things that I wanted to do. And so I, you know, my sister recommended that I, link up with her, and we went to hear somebody speak. And I will never forget, hearing the person talk about having the power of choice. And I'm, me just kind of, I don't know if I don't know if I would call it being jaded or whatever, but me just kind of like feeling like I'm, this is somebody talking at me and it's wah, 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 and I ain't really want to be there. But this idea of the power of choice really stuck to me, and I started to, just investigate and explore what that got to look like. And what I mean by the power of choice is understanding that every occurrence, everything that we experience is a neutral occurrence. Everything. Like everything that we experience is really meaningless and empty. And we, as, the main character in our lives, in our stories, we have the ability to assign, we have the power to choose what meaning we want to assign to things, right? So let's say, for example, you know, somebody's applying to get into college and they don't get accepted. That occurrence in and of itself is natural. What you choose as your interpretation of this occurrence is the thing that matters most, right? Because your mindset, right, your frame of mind creates a focus. It creates a perspective, right? So understand that frames create focus. Your frame of mind, your perspective is going to give you a particular focus. And that focus is going to make you feel either positive or negative about something. But here's the thing, you have the power to assign meaning. You have the power to choose. How do I want this occurrence to be? What do I want this to mean? And, the more that I began to investigate this, the more that I began to, sort of dig into and try to search for meaning around what this is, how it's connected to my life and how it could potentially be a tool that I use moving forward. I realized the tremendous power in being able to be grounded and be able to choose with intention my interpretation of every single occurrence in my life. And I'm not going to say that, I'm not human and things don't slip, but for the majority of my thoughts, the majority of the occurrences that I experience, I am steering, I am choosing an interpretation that serves me. Because, in my opinion, if you truly understand that you have the power to choose, right? No matter what's going on, if it's a death, a loss of a friendship, a relationship, you lose a job, whatever it may be, you have the power to say this occurrence that is neutral is either good or is bad. And and this is something that we are already doing. Some of us are just doing it on autopilot. Some of us are doing it, unconsciously. But for those who are self-aware, for those who are, maybe on a journey of self-mastery, like I am, you are very deliberate. You're very intentional. You are seeking out and building the muscle and building the ability to, one, pause and be able to become aware that something has just occurred. Two, become the observer of what's coming up for you. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Three, being able to identify and name what that is, right? Being able to develop emotional literacy and being able to understand what's going on. Understanding in reflection where did this come from, and being able to get to the root of that. But most importantly, being able to say in this moment, this is the choice that is going to serve me and forward me based on who I want to be and where I want to go and what I want to achieve. I mean, to keep it 100 with you, I don't understand people that make choices that don't serve them. Like, I remember having a mentor tell me it's not so much, what's wrong with what you're choosing. The real question is what's right with it, right? Is this aligned with who you want to become, where you want to go, your goals, your dreams, your aspirations? And to be quite frank, I can't tell you just how much this one mindset has served my life in measurable ways. It has saved me from myself. It has steered me clear of pitfalls and mistakes. It's allowed me to recover when I've made mistakes. It's allowed me to get up when I've been knocked down. Most importantly, it's allowed me to experience empowered breakdowns and be able to learn from those breakdowns or those mistakes. And it's allowed me to, use evaluated experience to be able to make better, more informed, more aligned decisions for myself moving forward. And I'm eternally grateful. And this is something that, I speak to people connected to me about. This is something that, I teach, something that I impart on the people that I work with, but also the people that I love, because I feel like once you have an understanding around the fact that you're in complete control and you have the power to shape narrative and cultivate a mindset that is beneficial to you, that is going to take you to the heights of your dreams and goals. I mean, it's nothing that can stop you. It's nothing that can get in your way. And the sooner you develop this mindset, the sooner you understand this, the more runway you have to achieve things that maybe you didn't even set out to, things that you didn't even fathom. But I want, all of you watching this community that we're building and cultivating. I want you to sit and, sit with this and think about it, right? I want you to sort of dig deep and confront yourself and ground your thoughts and your being around this idea that you have the power to choose. And I know it's not something that's easy, right? It takes some time to really forge into your psyche. But once you really, really actually, there's also a book called The Art of Choosing. I forget who the author is. I have it in my bookshelf, but I don't want to do that right now. But this book is incredible. So definitely go read it. The Art of Choosing. But understanding that the power of choice is something that you have in every moment is something that is extremely empowering. It gives you confidence. It gives you a boost. It's reassuring. And it helps you create and develop an assured mindset that I don't need to worry. I don't need to overthink. I don't need to project. I don't need to have everything figured out, because whatever it is that I encounter, whatever it is that I come across, whatever I experience in this life, I have the power to choose a perspective that is going to help me learn and grow and develop. So no experience is wasted. In order to do that, we have to, work against and combat limiting beliefs and, funky, musty energy and stinking thinking and all those sorts of things. Right. So it's sort of a bit of a back and forth, but eventually, the more that you familiarize yourself with this understanding, you know, the more you develop a level of mastery, the more, it becomes part of your being. And eventually it just becomes second nature, right? Somebody will try to give you a perspective, or somebody will try to program you with a thought or a feeling or a way of being. And you'll be very quick to be like, nah, that's not it. Or I understand that that's your interpretation of the situation, but I choose not to view it that way. I choose to view it this way. And I mean, I can't tell you you know, how much of a life-saving thing, you know, this can be. Personally, you know, I would say one of the most excruciating but enlightening experiences of my life was, going through a divorce, and having this tool, having this mindset allowed me to, one, be able to heal properly, but also be able to glean insights and learn things and give myself the space to become the individual that I am today and that I will eventually become, as opposed to letting something like that, destroy me or shatter me to the point where I'm not able to recover. I was able to allow myself the space to feel what I'm feeling and allow myself to be human, but also be able to choose perspective and explore perspective and interpretations of events that people looked at negatively, and one could argue was negative, but choose to look at the bright side of it, or choose to look at the silver lining, or choose an empowered perspective and look at what's possible with this change or this occurrence versus what might have been lost, or what can't be. It's a game changer. It changes everything. And this one mindset, I'm telling you, has changed. It has changed my life in ways that I couldn't possibly imagine. And that's the beautiful thing about, feeding your spirit and developing your mind and, exploring, right? I believe diversity of perspective is something that makes us just smarter and better people. And being open to doing so has, allowed me to grow in ways that in some ways I interpret I anticipated, but in other ways I wasn't even there to think the thought. And so it's a gift that keeps on giving. It's something that I continue to cultivate every single day, And it's something that I look to share with everyone. I'm always looking at what's possible, what can happen, what can work. It kind of makes me think about, there's a story or something about, a kid and a grandfather, and there's a good dog and a bad dog. And, you know, long story short, I'm gonna keep it so I don't know like the intricacies of it, but basically what the grandfather told the grandson was, whatever it is that you feed is what will grow and what will continue to return to you, right? So my thing to you is, why would you, if you do understand that you have the power to choose, then you would exercise the power of choice. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you have the option to choose a negative perspective that doesn't serve you, doesn't make you feel good, doesn't forward you in any way, versus choosing a positive, optimistic perspective that gives you solution, that forwards you, that gives you something to work on, to grow and progress. Why would you invest energy in something that doesn't serve you when you have equally as easy or even easier the opportunity to choose something that does? I mean, there is power in being a victim, but that's another conversation for another video. But that's just not something that I, that's not something that I really look to entertain, and I don't really care to surround myself around people who choose to entertain stuff like that. But yeah, if you've watched the video to this point, I appreciate you for rocking. We're gonna continue to build community around here. So, like and subscribe, share this with somebody who may need it, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video in the future. Peace.